Are you making flying FPV way harder than it needs to be without even realizing it? Well, if your drone feels more like a hyperactive squirrel rather than a smooth, precise machine, I'd be willing to bet that the answer to that is yeah, you are. After helping hundreds of beginner FPV pilots improve their flying, I've seen the same mistakes pop up over and over again. They're mistakes that are wrecking your confidence, your control, and your consistency. So in this video, I'm going to break down the flights of 3 beginner FPV pilots, each struggling with a different problem, and show you how to fix them fast. Okay, so this is Heath. Heath has let me know that he's struggling with hitting gaps and picking his line choices. And I've watched through his drone flight footage and have quickly found the biggest thing that's holding him back. But just before I can show you that, I do need to show you another problem that's really killing Heath's confidence here. And it's probably killing yours too without you even knowing it. You can see that as he's out there flying in the wide open field, he seems to be fairly confident and fairly in control, right? But the moment that he flies back into the trees, he's making big, slow, reactive corrections that are nearly leading to him crashing. This is caused by one main factor, and that is his flight speed. Now, here's the thing. I totally get why Heath's flying fast. It feels more fun, it's more exciting, and who the heck doesn't want to just send it into some trees? But flying fast is like trying to cross a narrow beam while sprinting. Sure, you might make it across, but you're probably going to bail out at some point. So by slowing down and lowering his camera angle to be between 5 and 15%, Heath would instantly gain better control and, more importantly, a boost in confidence. Because when you're not racing to correct your mistakes, you can actually start to enjoy the flight. So if you do decide to change your camera angle, just make sure that you change it IRL on your drone, but also in the simulator too. Anyways, with slower speeds in our mind now, let's have a look at the mistake that is really holding Heath back from hitting gaps confidently. I want you to imagine you're running down a street while balancing a bottle of water on your hand. You're gonna have to bear with me, this will all make sense in just a second. As you're running, you decide to freeze your hand and keep it locked and rigid. This might work for a moment or two, but I'd be willing to bet that the bottle is gonna fall off your hand pretty damn quickly. However, let's say that instead you have your hand loose and relaxed, all the while making micro adjustments as you run. In this case, I think that you'll find that you're going to be able to balance the bottle way better and for a much longer time as well. So using the same thought process, let's have a watch of Heath lining up and hitting a gap. As soon as everything looks good to Heath, like as soon as he feels he is going in the correct direction to hit a gap, he locks his right stick almost completely frozen and then relies on his throttle to save him. By doing this, he's literally sacrificing 50% of his control just because he stops using the pitch and roll to help him navigate. And look, this is a very common issue for beginners, myself included. For me, it came down to a lack of confidence and just kind of praying that I'd make it through the gap, which really is the equivalent of freezing your hand while trying to balance a bottle. So to fix this control loss issue, I've created a training exercise called PIG. It's designed to break that frozen stick habit and help you build confidence again when you're flying through gaps. You'll find that a flight that once looked unconfident and reliant on hope will start to look more like this. You'll also gain 50% of your control back, so what the heck is PIG and how can it help you out? Well, first things first, PIG stands for Progressive Inputs for Gaps. It's just my fancy way of saying that we're going to make some corrections over the exercise that's going to result in you hitting gaps. So within your simulator of choice, you need to set up 4 gates in a very slightly offset line like this. And if this is already sounding too hard, I've actually got you sorted. I made you a map in Uncrashed for this PIG exercise, which you can access completely for free. Just go to Steam, click on the Uncrashed Workshop, and then search PIG. So once you've got that added, or once you've put together your 4-gate setup in your own simulator, it's time to do the PIG exercise. The PIG exercise? The PIG exercise. I don't know why that's so funny. The PIG exercise. It works the PIG exercise. Okay, so the PIG exercise map, you're gonna see that there are 3 completely separate areas. We're just gonna be focusing on this first one to start off with, and what we're gonna be doing is going into it, going through this as if it's a gate or a gap, and then you're going to be making your way with your right stick and your left stick with very small maneuvers. So we're doing tiny little maneuvers here to take us into the next gate. Now, what this is forcing us to do is consistently stay moving on our sticks, and we're not doing anything like, I'm going to show you what you don't want to be doing going on these. So you don't want to be coming along here and going, okay, there we go, and okay, next way there. So we don't want to be doing that. The idea behind this entire exercise is to continually do small micro movements to get yourself through the gate or through the obstacle in this case, and then do the same thing consistently over and over. When you feel like this has become a little bit too easy for you, this first bit, as it probably will reasonably quickly, you can come over to the intermediate or the medium section. Now, you're doing the exact same thing. The difference here is that I've now decreased the distance between the obstacles, so there is less time to get to the next one, and we've very slightly increased the offset as well. So some of you are going to find this is actually easier, some will find this is more difficult. The idea behind this is to just continually have a almost swaying motion between your sticks. You're just consistently swaying from side to side, and we're not going one way, locking, and then going the next way, locking. You want to be in continual control, going side to side, as if it's swaying. Then, when that becomes too easy, you sure can take yourself on over to the, I'm going to call it the expert stage. It's not really an expert thing, but it basically will give you the best understanding that, hey, I think I've nailed this fundamental now. So you literally are just going between, and they're very, very tight obstacles now, but you're just going between them all, using both sticks continually moving forward, and try and keep it as smooth and stable as you possibly can. And once you can complete that, then I think you're going to be pretty much on the right pathway to just be able to nail a gap a whole lot better than before. That brings us on to Fisher RC, who has told me that they struggle with linking tricks together and making them smooth. So after watching through their flight footage, I've found the biggest problem that's stopping their smoothness, and it's probably not what you think either. The way that Fisher RC currently flies is in a fairly predictable pattern. We go from a hover to a high boost up, and then a fast dive down, followed by a reasonably hard catch. Right now, I'm not actually too worried about the repetitive pattern, although I will show you why this could be holding Fisher RC back in just a moment. Instead, I'm more worried about the level of throttle control that's being shown here. You can watch the altitude changing constantly after every trick is performed. It goes from doing the trick where altitude is generally lost to ending the trick where altitude starts going up again. I can also see that after a dive is being completed, that the throttle is being spiked up to catch the drone, and there really isn't so much of a smooth ending to it all. This all indicates to me that throttle control is what's holding Fisher RC back here. And trust me, this one sneaks up on everybody. You'll feel like you're in complete control right up until you're a solid 10 meters higher than you were planning on being. So not having a solid understanding of how much throttle your drone requires to stay at a certain height slows down your progress in every area of FPV. You can't learn new tricks easily, your flight lines will be all over the place, and you're at a much higher risk of crashing more than you need to be. So, to help you hone all of this in, I've created another simple training method. This one's called Slop, and I think you're gonna love it. It's quick, it's simple, and you can practice it anywhere. Best of all, it'll actually teach you how to read your throttle and lock in more controlled flights. But just before I show you how to slop, you need to understand what the issue is with Fisher RC's repetitive pattern of flying. The reason they might be doing the same thing over and over and over is thanks to the fact that they're stuck on this one damn kite. If Fisher RC was just to pop down to the ground for a moment, maybe fly around a tree and then head back up to the kite, they'll be able to find a lot more flow and be able to link their tricks together way easier. It's just about breaking out of the thought that you have to focus on one moving feature to have fun. So, with that being said, let's talk slop. Slop stands for steady levels on point, and you'll see why. Okay, so for the slop exercise, you can go and find yourself a tree, it can be a crane, it can be a building, whatever you find has the best reference points for you. And basically, what you're going to be doing is visualizing, say for example, this tree here as having 3 separate little spaces in it. So the first space that you're going to have is going to be a lower level, and you want to keep them about equal. So we're going to go from ground level here, more or less, probably up to about here. So we're in the middle of the tree there, down to the bottom and the ground here. My next section is going to be from more or less this middle point up to where the greenery starts to get like larger and bigger there. And then my third little segment is going to be from that point up to the very top up here. And you're going to start by hovering, yes, hovering, not doing anything else, just hovering in this bottom section of the tree. So we're going to count to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to move ourselves up to that middle section of the tree and you're going to hover there for 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then, once you're there, you can move yourself up to the top section of the tree, staying within your segments, and then hover there for 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, what you can do after this, once this becomes a simplistic task, is just to move from top to bottom, from top to middle to bottom. Then we're going to change things up. So we can go, okay, I'm going to go down to the bottom section, so all the way down, try and keep it smooth, and we're going to hold here for 1, 2. Now I'm going to go back to the top section, hold there for 2, 1, 2, back down to the middle, catch myself, 1, 2, and you can see, even I'm starting to fly around the tree. Realistically, you want to try and lock yourself in as much as possible. So you can make this slightly harder by going and doing it in smaller sections. So we're going to utilize this first, second, and third section, and we can do this for, say, 2 seconds in each. So 1, 2, up to the next, 1, 2, up to the next, and then 1, 2, up to the next, or down to the next one, whichever one you want to go down to. Our focus points here are primarily working on throttle control, and that is it. You're not too worried about doing cool things around it. You're not doing flips and whatnot. We're simply just holding a steady horizon and really trying to dial in where you think that perfect level is. So you should be able to take yourself from a high level to a low level, from a low level to a medium, from a medium to a high, back down low, back up high, and be confident in knowing where and how much power you need to make that happen with your drone. That then brings me on to Skippy FPV, who said that their biggest problem was struggling to hit gaps and also being consistent. The problem that I spotted isn't just Skippy FPV's problem. It's actually one of the most common issues shared between beginners. So what the heck is it? Well, by watching through a couple of Skippy FPV simulator flights, I can see that there is a lot of speed, a lot of fast movements, and a lack of control. Right now, looking at Skippy FPV's stick movements, it becomes clear that everything is being taken to the extreme. His right stick, which is in control of the pitch and the roll, is going from one extreme to the other, maneuvering the drone around just roughly and at full speeds. That is then followed by his left stick, which is in control of the throttle and the yaw, pulsing up and down from top to bottom. Imagine driving a Porsche 911, and to get to the supermarket, you drive by slamming the accelerator to the floor, then slamming the brake, then the accelerator, then the brakes, over and over and over again. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like a very fun car ride to me. You see, it's the exact same thing that's happening with Skippy FPV, just with his sticks instead of a car. So how the heck do we fix this? Well, lucky for you, I've got a training exercise, and yeah, it's got another stupidly cool name. This one is Swag. Yeah, no shame. Swag is designed to slow down your stick movements, get your throttle under control, and most importantly, bring some consistency to your flying. So, what on earth is Swag? Well, before I reveal the secret behind it, we need to make one more tweak to your setup that's going to make everything easier for your flying. You see, when starting out with something new, we very rarely need 100% of the power that is on offer to us. Let's go back to our Porsche 911. If you want to learn how to drive faster and you start out by slamming your foot to the floor, you're probably going to lose control and end up in a wall or something at some point. But if you ease yourself into all of it and use, say, 50 to 70% of the car's power, you'll likely have a much more controlled experience. And just like learning to drive faster, mastering your throttle in FPV starts with dialing back the power. So if you head into Betaflight, go to the PID tuning tab, then over to rate profile settings, we're going to change 2 settings here. The first is throttle limit, which we'll be changing to scale. And then the second is changing the 100% number to 80%. Don't forget to hit save, and also don't forget to change this in your simulator settings as well. What you've just done is limit your drone's power to 80%. And with that, you've just given yourself more control, better confidence, and a smoother, more precise flying experience. But getting your throttle under control is just step one. To really lock in the consistency and the precision, you'll need to fix those extreme stick movements once and for all. And that is where Swag comes in. Today, Swag means smoothly weave and glide, and it's gonna make your flights look so smooth that you're gonna feel like you're gliding on air. Okay, so for the Swag exercise, you're gonna be wanting to pick up a really nice long line. So this could be a long fence line, a row of trees, or something like in Uncrashed here. We've got just this entirely long, singular, flat line that you can just fly along without doing anything. Except there might be some cars that are gonna smash me out of the way. We'll see how that goes when we get there. Anyways, what you want to do with your long flat line is just start flying along it at a nice slow speed and maintain a steady hover and a steady height off the ground. As you're now going along, you're going to use both sticks. Go left with the sticks, right with the sticks. Left with the sticks, right with both sticks. You're going to notice that as you're flying along, when you start to weave and you start to go left to right, that your throttle might have to be adjusted in very small incremental ways. I'm going to dodge a car here, and then we're going to keep on weaving just along this line, just sort of going side to side on it, and just making micro corrections the entire time. Now the aim here is to simply be able to go along this line and go from left to right to left to right and make it as smooth and swayy as possible. After all, it's swag, right? Now, when this becomes nice and easy for you, there is a few ways that you can go and level yourself up with it. So right now you're doing all these nice big slow weaves here. What you're going to want to do is actually speed those weaves up a little bit, but maintain complete control. So this is a hard one because now I nearly got wiped by a car. Now you've got to maintain your hover, which is going to be slightly more over the place, but we're also just trying to be as smooth and clean as we can, so we're not going like this and getting all out of control. We still want to be retaining that smooth line and that smooth weave as we go through. Another really good way to be able to do this too is to use something like this fence line. So you can see we've got these large posts at each little, I don't know, however many meters that would be, right? These big ones, these here. What you can do is start along the top of this fence line. So this is a fence line, right? We can see these little markers, and you're actually going to want to weave between each of these markers, just like so. Right? So now it's almost like you're doing a bit of what we call in racing slaloms. You're going between each of these little points and you're making these weaving maneuvers. Now it's all about making minor, finite controls here. We're not trying to do massive, big turns like this, right? We don't want to be doing that. We just want to be weaving and keeping the weaves really subtle. So we're going boom to this side, over to that side, over to this side. I would have hit that. It's all about just getting that consistency and getting that smoothness over a nice long period of time. So hopefully you've learned something from today's breakdown. If you do want to submit your own footage to be roasted, there's a link down in the description below. It's 100% free and I just love helping you guys out. And if you found these fixes helpful, wait until you see 3 more of the biggest mistakes that wreck beginners FPV control. This video here has got them all, so I'll see you there in just a moment.